Hey friends, welcome back to Mustard Seed Homesteading. And for anyone that's new here, my name is Megan and I'm so grateful that you're here because friends, we finally had our first frost. And so I went and cleaned out all of the beds, minus the two that are already established, and I can't wait to share with you all. So before we go in the backyard garden, I do want to continue to show you the green stalk that we planted weeks ago because it is growing so beautifully. And I also don't want to forget that I did go ahead and buy some more starts from the local nursery. I plan to plant some more cabbages. I did buy some Brussels sprouts, some spinach, and collards. I had to go and take a look at that. But the reason I purchased some more starts, because I do still have some of my own starts that I started, is so that I can get some more plants out there because I have not had the time to start any more seeds. I was hoping to, but I just didn't get to. And when I price these out per plant, it's usually around 50 cents per start, which isn't too bad. And because I did purchase some of these starts back in September, I'm noticing the cabbages and the Georgia collards are growing so lovely that I figured that I'd not only get more of those, but I went ahead and also bought some other starts as well. Something I do want to quickly show you since we are down here, because these racks are newer to my garden, so I can put my seedlings and my starts up here without them being on the ground and potentially getting eaten up by any critters. But I also used this recently for the bamboo sticks. So these were all in the beds, and the reason I have them laid out on here is for the very reason that the bottoms, you can see there's a lot of soil that's on there. And before bringing them in my garage to store them for the winter time, I figured we're still getting some pretty warm days. I'll just put them out here. They can dry up so I can dust off the soil and then store them in the garage. But I just wanted to quickly show that to you because I absolutely love having the storage or the shelving units outside. It really has helped tremendously for so many reasons, to dry things, just get them off the ground, a place for all of my seedlings to harden off, and it's just been really good. So I just wanted to quickly show that to you. All right, here is that lovely green stalk, friends. So the cabbages are growing really nice. These are the starts that I purchased right over here. I bought more of them, and my goal is to put them in some of the beds, maybe some of the bags back there. I'm not 100% sure yet, but they are growing really, really nice. Plus, I do have a lot of cabbages back there that I started from seed. Stonehead is one of my favorite cabbages. Savory Perfection is another one that I tried last year. It didn't grow fully to head, so I'm hoping to do that again because it did start. It was growing really nice, but it didn't have enough time, so I'm starting that over again. So there are a lot of other varieties that I like that I'm also growing in the back. But friends, look at how beautiful this is growing. So I have cabbages to the Georgia collards. I don't have anything to harvest right now. I have kale, broccoli. Broccoli does so well for me in the green stalk. So kale and broccoli are always going to be growing. And friends, believe it or not, during the nights that we had some cold temperatures, I did bring this in instead of covering it just because there was a lot going on up top and I didn't want the frost cover to smash anything down. So I brought it into the garage. And friends, my red cayenne pepper plant is still going. So we're actually still gonna be having 60 to 70 degree days for at least the next week and a half. So I'm hoping I can try to get a couple of more peppers from there. And friends, look at that calendula in November. I'm growing calendula in November, it's so pretty. Now at some point they're all gonna die and that's fine, but in the meantime, I'm just rolling this in my garage because I don't want to put a frost cover on top. Something I do want to point out, friends, so this Amaranth Pink Beauty, I do not think that this is frost hardy because the two that were in the bed in the back, and even these, when it got really cold, it didn't do well versus say broccoli or kale or cabbages. So I think I'm gonna keep these in here and try to continue to grow them as much as I can, but I think I'm definitely going to regrow these in the springtime because I think they're more meant for warmer weather. And friends, look at that lettuce head, it's so pretty. By the way, just a side note with the green stalks, I typically do better with one lettuce per pocket. I've noticed that, not to say that it would never work with 2 or 3, but I know in my experience, 1 has always worked the best. And look at this red sail lettuce growing in my raspberry plant. Because seed flew, I think that's why it's there, but red sail lettuce, by the way, is one of my favorite lettuces. I do actually need to start more seed with this because this one does very, very good in my garden. Now, as you saw, I did my potato harvest. The next week or the week after, I'm not really sure if I'm gonna do the ginger and the turmeric next week or the sweet potatoes next week, but either way, these 2, plus I have some sweet potato bags in the backyard garden, are going to be my next couple of videos so that you can see what I harvest out of the green stalks as well as the bag. All right, friends, here is the backyard garden, and while I'm a little sad to see my peppers are gone, and you'll see the tomatoes back there are gone, it also feels really good because I do want to start fresh again. But I did already clean out all of the peppers, so I'm so glad that we harvested all of those peppers and tomatoes when we did, because when that frost came, it killed all the tomatoes and the pepper plants. So these 2 are finally all cleaned. By the way, I never share much about my grapevines, so I just bought these this year. I did not get any grapes at all, so I'm just gonna give it another year and hope that I get something. I mean, the leaves looked beautiful. I just didn't get any fruit, so maybe it needs another year. But either way, I just wanted to quickly show you because I haven't really talked about them in a while, which is why I bought this beautiful little archway trellis. You can see all of the pepper plants that were in the bags all dead. So I still have to pull out the bags and then some of the buckets here, as well as some of the bags lined up over there. This bed, friends, is doing really, really well. Now, I probably could actually start harvesting some of the kale. So I have red Russian kale. No, I take that back. This is scarlet kale. I've never grown scarlet kale before, but so far I'm really liking it. Red Russian, for some reason, I kind of have a hard time with red Russian, so maybe scarlet is a better variety for me. And then I do have some kale. I do have some kale over there as well. And then the rest of it's pretty much broccoli, kohlrabi. Broccoli always does really good in these beds for me. And then look at these collards. I'm telling you, look at these. Collards is probably now one of my favorite veggies because look at how prolific, how beautiful and lush the leaves are. I have to find some really good recipes for collards. But we have collards, we have a lot of the cabbages. So these are the cabbages that I purchased back in September, and they're already starting to form heads. I'm super excited about that, and I cannot wait to be able to harvest these with you all. But they're doing really good. Now, do you remember all that insect pressure? You can see there's still holes. You can see though that the middles are still intact. And so that's why whenever I see major insect pressure, I just leave it alone as long as the middle is still good. So this one looks like it got it the worst, but you can see the head is still forming. So that's why I just don't touch them. Something really interesting is the lemon balm over here did really good during the cold nights. This one also did pretty good. Some of it kind of got destroyed. And I can't remember if lemon balm is kind of a cold hardy. I know it can't take like consistent cold temps, if I remember, like every single day cold, but maybe a few nights and then it bounces back. I'm not really sure. But either way, I'm very grateful it's still here. And then these are doing really good, although I'm probably gonna have to take these off soon because they're already touching the tops. You know, something that I thought about doing for really large bags is figuring out how to make some sort of a dome. I'm sure they sell it, but it's probably super expensive. But making some sort of a dome using these like frost covers and insect covers over these bags, I just haven't had the time to do it. And then here is the other bed. I'm not going to take the insect netting off of this one, but most of these are broccoli. I do have a Napa cabbage back there. I'm very excited for this bed. So this one I planted a little bit later than the other bed, which is why the other bed looks way more established, but everything's looking really good. But here's what I'm talking about. You can see it's not looking too good, the pink amaranth. So I do not think that that is cold hardy. One thing I do want to point out that I'm going to be doing this year versus last year I didn't do. So I had the insect netting on prior to the nights that got really cold because I had squirrels and just critters back here that likes to eat my stuff. So what I did was I came over and I just put the frost cover over the insect netting. Now, maybe a lot of gardeners do this and I'm just new to it. But what I plan to do this time or this year is keep the insect netting over the hoops and just put the frost cover over them. I may double frost or put 2 frost covers over depending on how cold it gets and how the plants are doing. But it came to my mind that the best thing to do is to put the insect netting over and the frost cover over. And the reason is, if we get bursts of warm days, I can easily just take that frost cover and put it over, take it off so that the plants can breathe, but the insect netting will already be there so it can protect the plants from any critters getting to it. Again, maybe this was already something that gardeners do. It just came to my mind as I was pulling stuff out and doing things back here that it would just make my life a whole lot easier by just pulling back the frost cover and already having the insect netting cover over it so that it is protecting it from critters. Also, friends, that tomato plant in the ground also died, and I now have my 2 herbs here. This is the sage that I bought from the nursery as well as the thyme. They're doing really good, but I did end up cleaning that up as well. And there it is, friends. Look at all of the beds, they're empty. It feels kind of weird, but it's also really satisfying. I have to say, it does feel very satisfying to see everything cleaned up. And now I have a completely clean slate. You can actually see the water grids. I love these water grids, you guys. They save so much time. I do have a link to them down below if you are interested in checking them out. It's from Garden in Minutes. And then I cleaned out the bags, and I also cleaned out the pepper bags over there as well. So I just have to clean some more green beans as well as some more green beans over here. And then, like I said, those really large bags that had some of the tomato plants and then some of the tomato plants over here. But what you and I are going to do, we are actually going to harvest all the rest of the jicama that I had in these buckets because I want to start figuring out where I'm going to put all of my starts. Now, for the most part, I feel like everything is doing really good minus, the tomatoes, peppers, and the basil. But I will say, I noticed that some of my snap peas, not all of them, got a little bad during the frost because we had 2 nights in a row. So these are actually not good, but it's interesting because I do have some new growth and it's, there's parts of them that are doing really good. So I'll just take what I can take. But for the most part, I feel like everything is doing really good. So I came over here to where all of my snap peas are on this trellis, and for the most part, they're all doing pretty decent. I do see a lot of new growth and flower buds, so I'm just going to let these continue to grow. My camera always gets out of focus because that background is so busy, but for the most part I see that they're all doing pretty good. The lettuce is still intact, so I don't know, you guys. I'm really hoping. They do seem like they grew a little bit though, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. They do look like they grew a little bit, so let's just hope I can get some nice heads of lettuce from here. And there's all the dead green beans. So those definitely did not make it through the frost, so I do have to pull these out, which, by the way, Gia, if you are watching, sweetie, I am going to be making a separate short video on whether or not to pull these out of the soil or keep them in the roots. It really just depends on the plant, the soil, and personal preference, but I am going to make a very short little separate video explaining what I do, because I know sometimes these little questions are, little details that people want to know when they're gardening. I know I did when I was gardening. I wanted to know everything about gardening. I always had questions, and sometimes when I would look for videos or information, it was hard to find answers to a lot of those questions. Something I do want to point out, friends, so when things start to dry out or die, so this is Tulsi holy basil, you can save the seed or take this part of the plant and then just do this, rub it, and sprinkle wherever it is that you want that to grow. That's what I've been doing. In fact, a lot of the tomatoes that I took out of these beds, I would smash them around the sides or right over there by the stairs so that I can have little starts planted. Even the tiny little peppers, the little hot peppers that I have down below, I just will take the tiny little pepper and I'll stick them in the soil, because new little starts will start to pop up come springtime. And I'll tell you, one of the things, as I see a cobweb here. One of the things I absolutely love, and I can feel it on my face, you probably can't see it. Okay, sorry guys, I just feeling it, I'm just like, ugh. Okay, one of the things that I have learned as a gardener is volunteer plants are some of my favorite plants because I didn't have to put too much work into it. And so what I noticed this year, because I had some of my veggies that either smashed on the ground or fell on the ground, I had an abundance of food that I didn't put any work into. With the cucumbers, if you saw some of my videos during the summertime, I had a bunch of cucumbers that were sprawling out on my ground over there. I had a bunch of tomatoes, the cherry tomato, 2 cherry tomato plants that were actually right by my stairs and over there where I had shown you before, and just volunteer plants everywhere, and I absolutely loved it. So now what I'm doing is I am just taking veggies and I'm smashing some of them on parts of my garden where I would love to see them grow. And as far as the back here, I have shown you that I did clean a lot of these pallets up. Now, I haven't planted back here because then my focus got on the beds and trying to harvest everything because of the frost that was coming. But I'm more than likely going to plant back here at some point. You guys, look at the spinach. Look at how gorgeous this spinach is. It's so pretty. And the Napa cabbage is doing really good. But at some point I will fill these. I just don't know exactly what spots I'm going to be filling yet. But right now I'm just focused on cleaning everything because we did now have our first frost. And so between harvesting and now trying to have to clean up all of this stuff, my focus kind of got off of the pallets back here. All right, so I know it doesn't look like there's jicama in some of these buckets, but we are going to go ahead and harvest them. I'm going to harvest one on camera, and then the rest I'm probably just going to grab up real. Oh, friends, you see what I'm talking about? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Look at you. You're so cute, you little jicama. You're so cute. Hello, little baby. Sorry guys, I get super excited about jicama. Look at how beautiful this is. It's the size of my hand. You see why I absolutely love these? These are some of the best things to grow. They're so hands-on, and you wouldn't have known it because it just, look at how, it's not like it's beautiful leaves. Look at that. It looks dead. Like you would have never known that that was gonna pop out of that bucket, but there you go. Look at how beautiful that is. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's try one more together. Yes, hello, sweetie. Oh, look at you, so pretty. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and harvest the rest of these because you see that beautiful skyline? I'm losing light. All right, before I show you the jicama, because friends, it was a lot and they're gorgeous, I do still have these beautiful kales and kohlrabis in the bags, and they're actually doing phenomenal. I absolutely love this new trellising system that my hubby bought because I'm able to squeeze a lot on here while using this trellis for support. So I was able to squeeze these bags in, and I just went ahead and tried planting the kohlrabi in here. I do have some Swiss chard over here as well, and they're doing really, really good. I'm actually gonna also grab some lemon balm very quickly. All right, friends, let's go ahead and see what we harvested today before I lose lighting outside. All right, so we got a lot of jicama, and then I did grab that red cayenne, as well as I did harvest a bunch of lemon balm, which smells really good. But let me put this down so I can show you the largest one that I harvested. Well, I'm gonna show you two. Okay, so jicama is one of my favorite root veggies to grow in the summertime, but you guys look at how massive. I think this is the one, I don't think we harvested this one together on camera. I think it was this one that we harvested on camera together, but you can see they're almost not far apart in size. And then the other ones are just kind of like smaller, medium. So you can see they're like all different sizes. But these are one of my favorite vegetables to grow because it's a very starchy vegetable, but it's almost like eating a potato, but it's not the exact texture of a potato. It has the kind of the carbs like a potato. It's hard to explain because I don't know everything about jicama other than it tastes good and it's really easy to grow and it's kind of like a potato-ish. Anyways, I'm probably doing a really bad job of explaining it, but definitely look into growing it because it is one of the easiest vegetables vegetables to grow. And the way I prepare it is I'll take the skin off, chop them up, and I'll bake them in the oven with some olive oil, some salt and pepper, and they taste delicious to me. So what I do plan to do, or my goal, I should say, is my green stalks, and I've shared this before. Let me make sure I'm still in focus, is in my green stalks, the pockets that are, I probably could put them in either the original or the leaf, but my goal is to plant an entire tier of jicama because they do good, as you see, in buckets. They also do really good in bags, and they're very hands-off. And so I may designate an entire green stalk to jicama because of how well they do for me in my garden. But I am so glad that like I said, we were able to harvest this together, because you can see how much jicama you can grow in these buckets. It's super duper easy, and like I said, they're very hands-off. And friends, before I go, I do want to let you know in the weeks to come, I will be figuring out spots where I want to plant the rest of my starts throughout the garden. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of the beds for winter gardening, but I do plan to put up my hoops that I've shared before in previous videos, as well as my frost covers and insect netting, and do a full winter garden. And I'm really looking forward to it, because not only is it a little bit slower paced, but it still allows me to be out here and just kind of keep my hands in the soil and being in the garden, which is one of my favorite things to do. So I just want to let you know that I will be doing those in the weeks to come, as well as some more harvest videos. Well, friends, thanks so much for stopping by. I always look forward to seeing you guys next time. And remember, friends, I want you to be encouraged, stay encouraged, and always stay inspired. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.